You are listening to the Boss Experience Podcast, a podcast with conversations about business growth, self-development, and maintaining a mindset to achieve business success. My name is Michele Davis, and I am a business strategist and coach, and I am your host. Let's get started. Previously on the Boss Experience. Welcome to another episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. My name is Michele Davis, and I'm your host. And in this episode, I'm sharing an interview I had the pleasure of doing for Red Cup Talks with host Obed Burgess. And in this particular interview, we're talking about being determined in life and in business, because in business, just like in life, we are going to encounter things, and we're going to encounter tragedies and ups and downs and unexpected things. And so we have to be able to weather the storm. And so this episode is all about being able to weather the storm when unexpected things take place in our lives and in our business. So enjoy the episode, and I hope you get tons of value from it, no matter where you are in your entrepreneurial journey.
How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I am great. I am awesome. And I'm thankful for allowing me to interview you, for you allowing me to interview you. Sorry, you got me all nervous, got me all flustered. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Anytime. I love the content that you put out. Very informative. It helped many of us that watch my podcast and our guest. And I just had to, I was so nervous. I said, you know what, let me just shoot my shot. And luckily you said yes. So I am thankful. Again, I am so thankful.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So yes, let's hop right into the interview. Again, for those that want to know and learn more about you, first question is, who are you?
Well, I am a multifaceted woman. I have so many layers to me. I am not just a business strategist, but I'm a mother. I am a person that's passionate about a lot of things, and I'm passionate about helping people. It, kind of what I've done my whole life is help people achieve things, achieve their dreams, achieve results. So I'm all about helping people whenever I can. So that in a nutshell is who I am.
So Michele Davis is a helper, right?
Yes. Not
Awesome.
Everybody can be helped, but
This is true. They got to receive the help first. This is very, very true. Very, very true. But you are a helper. And that is a rare commodity at times, because in this society that we are in, everyone's about go getting it. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you got to help those behind you and around you. And you are definitely doing so. What were some of the careers that you had before you ventured into the journey of entrepreneurship?
Great questions. First of all, entrepreneurship was never something I thought about. So I'm what you would consider a late blooming entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship wasn't something I thought about until later, until I found my back up against the wall, so to speak. But I'll get into that later.
Okay.
I went to college. I got a bachelor's degree in forensic psychology, a master's degree in public administration, because that was supposed to guarantee me, a job, right?
Job security.
Right. I was like a robot, just going on this path to get educated, get a job. That's what they teach us, right? So, I never aspired to be an entrepreneur. I just kind of worked. I started off my career in nonprofit services. My first job was working as a case manager with formerly incarcerated individuals. They were on parole. They violated their parole, and they were just kind of, and then they went to jail. And then they were coming into this facility, and I was their case manager. That was my first professional position out of John Jay College of Criminal Justice, which is where I got my bachelor's from. And then after that, I decided I was going to go get my master's. And this time I left New York, went off to New Mexico to do that. And then got my master's degree there, and then ended up doing a whole number of things, everything from grant writing to developing programs. All for nonprofit entities. I worked for probation, developing their programs and doing quality assurance. And that is when you think about where does the ability to strategize come from? That's that's kind of really where I started to strategize, because you're not everything is not just straight on. You got to be able to problem solve. And you got to be able to develop things. And that's when I really started developing those skills. And then I went on from, developing programs for probation to running a domestic violence shelter and crisis hotline. I did that in Los Angeles. And then I found myself working back to New York, came back to New York. And the last nonprofit position I had was associate vice president for a nonprofit agency in New York, helping chronically ill individuals. And so that's kind of where I left off. And then I found myself at a crossroad with that last position, because it wasn't a job where they were ever going to support me and give me what I needed to succeed. I had the title, but I didn't have the voice in the organization. I didn't have the voice. I barely had a seat at the table. And so here I was, this educated woman, I needed this job. And here I was, not even like, I have this title, but not, I couldn't do anything. And so I ended up leaving that job. And I remember sitting in my living room one day and I was just like, I'm going to start a business. I don't know where this came from. And I decided I was going to start a business. And I think, it wasn't so much that I wanted to start a business, but there were certain things that I wanted that, so having a business afforded me, the opportunity to do. And that was to be able to not rely totally on a 9 to 5, because I did work outside my field after that. I just didn't want to rely on a 9 to 5 for my income, because at any time, this way you're like kind of trapped. Like so many other people, they hate their job, they're trapped, they don't have anything else down the pike, and that's it. If you lose that job, that's it. I think probably the greatest thing I was able to do is to learn the online world and to learn how to navigate the online world and to learn how to, package products up. I already knew how to develop programs and that whole process and getting into details about developing programs. And so that's how I was able to eventually develop my own coaching program and coaching services and help my clients do the same thing. And nice. I think that's where I ended up learning that skill and also, putting myself in a position where I'm not totally reliant on one income. So that is my experience in a nutshell.
That is just amazing. You went from helping formerly incarcerated individuals, which is amazing in itself. It shows that you've have patience over the years, which was awesome, amazing. Work in the field of domestic violence and those that were victims of such, to then start writing grants and then saying, you know what, I'm not being appreciated. Because so many people know they're not being appreciated, but stay in sticky situations, whether in a relationship or in business or your own career. And you pivoted. It's very important. Some people know what's wrong and they sit there for 25 plus years, knowing that, you're not going to get support, knowing the BS of it all. But you said, no, I want to pivot and go into entrepreneurship. That's just amazing, because so many people are stuck in situations. It may not just be in careers. It could also be in life, in relationships. But if you need an example, here she is. Someone that has pivoted and is doing well for herself and has a great podcast called The Boss Experience. And that's what makes you the boss. What are some things that you have accomplished that makes you a business strategist, or that would push you into business strategy and consulting?
I think one thing, throughout my whole career, what I've done is develop and strategize. I remember, doing everything from, developing a specialized court, working with 12 individuals around the table, developing this specialized court. That's all about strategy, even just being able to navigate those relationships. So I think it all started in my career. And then when I moved into entrepreneurship, it really came from really working with people, not just looking at the outcome, because you have some people they'll coach us, around a specific topic, but you ask them to talk about something else, they can't really do it. And then a strategist, on the other hand, and there's coaches that are strategists as well, but the strategists, on the other hand, are like, you can have a business owner come to you and they're like, I'm not making sales, or I'm not getting clients in my business. What do I need to do? And a strategist can come in and look at that entire business and look at the opportunities that are missed, look at the gaps that are, occurring within the business, and kind of be able to advise from there. And a lot of people A lot of coaches can't do that. And that's the difference between just someone who can come in and look at what strategy you need. And strategy is probably what stands between people being able to really do anything in their business, because they're so focused on the outcome. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I want that 6 figures. I want this. I want that. It all starts with strategy. If you don't have a strategy, you don't have a marketing, strategy, you don't have like a business strategy, you don't have a business plan in most cases, like how are you going to reach those 6 figures? And it's really all about the process that people kind of forget. They want to get to the outcome, and they want to skip over everything else in between. And once you know the process and once you have a strategy, you can replicate that no matter what it is that you start. And that's what people need to learn. So to answer your question about how did I become a strategist through practice, both, first starting off in my career and then doing actual client work as an entrepreneur, because people come out and they come out from, the sky and they're talking about, oh, I'm a business strategist. You got to do the work. Got to do the work.
Yes, that is so true. You must do the work. Anyone that is like myself, trying to get themselves in shape, you don't want to say, hey, I want to get the 6-pack, and you eating Funyuns and all types of things. You go to the beach, body positivity. No, it's not going to work that way. You're gonna, so you got to work your way to that chisel, whatever it is that you're trying to be. And the same way applies in life and in business.
Starting a business is easy. Making money from your business is the hard part. The only way to launch a profitable business is to have a plan, direction, and one source of information that gives you everything you need to get started. So what if I told you that a blueprint exists that can take you from finding a business idea you love to launching a profitable online business? Without an email list, a big social media following, or wasting your time scouring the internet trying to put the pieces together. Get the only source you need to launch your profitable business today.
Just visit bossbusinessplanner.com to get yours today. Now back to the episode.
You used the talent that you had from your career, and you said, you know what, I can do this for me. It's very I know you said you one day sat down and you realized I can do this for myself. What was there, something that made you do it, or was it just, you know what, I'm sick and tired? what was it?
I was in this highly, highly, highly toxic work environment, and I was working like 50-hour weeks, and like I would work 8 hours at the job and then come home and work again after dinner, till like midnight, and that's not sustainable. And these people did not appreciate that. There was no, I didn't get a raise for doing that. There was nothing that I received for, sacrificing my personal time. So what I did is when I first started a business, I did not start off correctly. And I talk about this all the time in my podcast. People tend to start off based on, trying to get coached by everybody on the internet. They're like, oh, I can be this. Oh, okay, let me try that. And then the next shiny object comes in front of them and they're like, oh, I'll try that. Oh, no, I'll try that. And so that is kind of how people start off. And the problem with starting off that way is it's not sustainable. You can't start off your business on a trend. You need to look within, figure out what is it within you what skills do you already possess? What are you interested in doing? Because after all, you don't want to create another job for yourself, right? That you end up hating. Yes. Whatever it is you want it to, whatever you create, you want to be excited about it. And it needs to be something that you are actually skilled at doing. A lot of people are running around, going crazy, buying coaching programs, buying courses to learn a new skill without ever asking themselves, what skills do they already possess that they could build a business around? Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with courses. There's nothing wrong with, coaching, but before you get to the point of purchasing anything, you need to do a deep dive into who you are. What do you enjoy doing? And a lot of people don't take the time to ever ask themselves what they enjoy doing. What do they actually experience that? And what I always, tell my clients is, you write a list. Just like, you would create a resume when you're looking for a job, right?
Indeed.
Write a list of all the skills you have. what are things that people have told you that you're good at? What are things that, you have done over the years that and then you kind of narrow it down from there. You do a complete brain dump. Maybe you're very good at, helping people develop resumes. Maybe you're good at leadership and you worked, so many years helping to develop other leaders in your job. Why can't you can transfer those skills as long as you enjoy it. Why not transfer those skills into an actual business for yourself? And so when I thought about it over the years, I was making people money. And, because, you're writing grants, you're bringing revenue in, right? You're keeping things running, you're keeping the lights on in these programs, you're helping them profit, you're helping them to be profitable. And so why not do that for yourself? Why not monetize your own skills and expertise instead of deciding for the rest of your life you're going to keep lending those out until next thing you know, you retire. And then you're trying to scramble around, trying to figure things out then.
Very, very true. Very, very true. So you said, why not me? I've made everyone money. I've made everyone, get a nice income. Why not myself? And that's very important when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to pivoting into a new career maybe or goal. Why not yourself?
Right. I just want to mention one other thing too. So when you talk about starting backwards, when I first started off, I started off in MLM and, like a lot of people do. And then I didn't know anything about business. So I didn't know where to start. MLM, multi-level marketing. So I was selling, this product and I realized that, I don't want to reach out to my friends and family, to sell something. Because, the reality is your friends and family aren't necessarily your target market, right? And so I didn't learn until later, I really needed to focus within. But anyway, I started off selling, in the kind of the MLM industry, quickly realized that wasn't, anything I wanted to do. I wanted to be in charge of my own brand, branding. I didn't know what that meant, what that was, but I didn't want to be so restricted. Getting permission to advertise in certain ways. I was like, that's not a business. And, so, because I didn't feel free. I didn't feel free to do what I wanted to do. And then you had to they wanted you on these calls all the time. I was like, no, I need to be in control of my time. That's why I'm looking to be an entrepreneur. And you would have to sell a lot and recruit a lot of people to actually make money in MLM. Then I went from that into, the drop shipping trend. The problem with the drop shipping trend is it was just that a trend because with all of the courses they were selling, no one taught strategy. So they taught you to put up a store, put a product up, run some ads. And when those kind of, tactics kind of dried up, so did all those businesses that popped up because those people, they didn't have any strategy.
Where did they go tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah. And they're following trends. And then, eventually I moved into building websites and that was kind of how I kind of, transitioned to business strategy, business coaching, consulting. And as I was building websites, and it was a skill I already had from my nonprofit, strangely enough, because I would get into the things that nobody else wanted to do. All the tech stuff. Well, we don't want to do that. Okay, fine, I'll do it. So I took that skill with me into entrepreneurship and actually started a marketing agency. I had a team and we did social media management and website design. And I ended up pivoting to coaching because a lot of the people I was building websites for didn't know what to do after that. They're like, okay, I got this website, but then, okay, what do I do next? How do I get my first client? Or how do I get clients consistently? And so that's why I was like, no, I'm not going to do website design anymore because that's not where people need help. And remember, I'm a helping person, right?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. And so that's not where people need help. They need help with the basics about, getting their business started.
That's interesting. So you started off, you always wanted to help. You always liked helping people. And then you went to college, you did your whole career, but the basics was helping people. And from helping people and knowing that you can help people, you mastered different skills, web design, offering help, strategy, consultant, and became who you are today and opened a business for yourself. So for those at home that are like, entrepreneurship is like, oh, no, I can't do it. It's for only a select few. No, it starts out with is something that you can do naturally. And then you progressively get better at with the skills, information that you get. And you can be like Michele Davis, the boss. But next question. What were some failures in your life that motivated you to become the person that you are today?
Business failures, or do you want me to go
You can do both. Regular failures, everyday failures, business failures. What are some of the failures because someone at home has failed at something and feels like they're stupid or they're a failure, they don't know what they're doing. So let us know. What is it that motivated you to become the person that you are today?
When I first started my business, I had quite a few failures. Those failures stem from not knowing about business, not really following the right people, not buying the right courses or being mentored by the right people. So I failed a lot until, and I didn't even know it was important, mentorship and coaching. I didn't realize that until later. And that's very, very important. When I quickly realized what I'm doing is not working, that was a game changer for me, because then I'm like, okay, what I'm doing is not working. Let me try and do something a little bit different. Let me, look at who I'm following. A lot of the people I'm following, you can't even find them anymore because their programs went under and, just all kind of craziness when I first, because when you first start off online, you really don't know who to follow. You don't know, who your mentor should be, and you don't know who's reputable. And it takes time to figure that out. I ended up hopping into things that without really thinking through, just like the MLM, getting into MLM. Well, without thinking, what is MLM really? Is that something I'm going to enjoy? So I didn't do that in the beginning. So I failed miserably. Not allowing myself to dream big. I consider that to kind of be a failure too early on, even from the time I was younger. No one ever said, you could be something other than, going to college, doing this. And college is important. I want my kid to go to college. So if she sees this, I want you to go to college. But I don't want her to be a robot. I want her to be able to see, that there's opportunities out there. And I felt like when I look back, I was actually a robot. And to me, that was a failure, because I ended up kind of in these different positions, and some of them I was really passionate about, and others I just kind of eventually I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And then finally, toward the end of my nonprofit career, I landed in that really toxic work environment, not allowing myself to dream big, doubting myself, putting limitations on myself, because when people think about whether they can be an entrepreneur, they act like it must be somebody else. I don't have what it takes. I don't have the skills. And, I doubted myself. Myself. Yeah, I doubted myself tremendously. So, not allowing myself to dream big enough, but also not giving myself a chance to really think thoughtfully about what I was starting out in when I did start my business, or started off with entrepreneurial aspirations, I should say. Yeah.
No, that's key. That's key. Belief in yourself. It goes a long way. Because some of us have the dream, we have the goal, we want the end result, but you have to, no matter what, believe in you. Because honestly, when you're going after your vision, not everyone can see it. So do you believe in your vision more when people are supporting you, or when people don't even believe in it or think you're seeing things, but it's your vision? So it's wonderful. I hope someone at home was inspired by that and continues to believe in themselves.
And I wasn't prepared for entrepreneurship. When we talk about failing, I wasn't prepared for the ups and downs. I didn't know what to expect. So yeah, it's not for the faint heart. You got to really have heart going into business.
But it's crazy that you said you had a high position, yet you weren't supported. And a lot of us that get these positions of power, or you're a manager, you're a supervisor, you're appointed, but you're not empowered. In all that, go after your goals. Go after your dreams. Don't let their position be your end-all, be-all, but create a position for yourself. So, from your experience, what are some of the most biggest misconceptions about being an entrepreneur?
Oh, definitely people trying to get coached by every single person online. You cannot build a business downloading 50 free products that are sitting in your email that you're not opening. It's just not going to work. You can't build a business that way. Because you have people, they don't have a concept of investment, of what it means to invest in yourself and what it means to invest in your business. So they run around looking for all this free content, and free content only gets you so far. So you eventually, you're going to have to invest in yourself. And that's a big mistake that people make. Another big mistake that people make is, they're looking at the end game instead of the process. And if you can get the process down and you can develop the strategy, you can take that and do anything, build anything with it. Because when you think about it, even, when you look at some of the big names that you follow online, have you ever taken the time to Google them and see, like, how did they start out? Like, and a lot of them didn't start off with the business model they have now. You'd be surprised when you Google the people that you follow the most. And people get so caught up on people that are very popular online, and they don't look at these individuals and really look at them deep and think about what is it that I want in my, what is it that I'm looking for in a mentor? And is this person really it? And just because they have so many thousands of likes, that shouldn't be your determination for whether or not you want to work with that person. So that's another mistake that people make. Yes. You really need to look deep into people and see what their background is. Are they associated with real people, that actually knew them, or they're actually connected to real people that know them in real life? What's their background? And I mentioned the lack of strategy, not really taking the time to have a strategy and not taking the time to plan out their business. When you think about, like, you don't just kind of wake up and say, oh, I'm going to get on social media and I'm going to, that's how I'm going to get my next sale. And it's like, okay, what is your strategy? Will you do lives? Are you going to post? Are you going to use influencers? Like, what is your strategy? It can't be just post on your page and think that people are going to come. What is your content strategy? What is your, marketing strategy overall? Is it just going to be social media? Is it just going to be Instagram? People don't plan anything out and they wonder why they don't get results. Yeah, those are just a few that come to mind of some of the mistakes and missteps that people make when they're trying to start a business. And also, they don't hire a coach. They don't invest in themselves. I think I mentioned that already, but they don't hire a coach, and they try and follow all these different people and get all these different strategies. And the next thing you know, their brain is so overwhelmed, they end up not implementing anything.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But no, you're right on. You are right on. Would you say it's the misconception of self-made millionaire? Is that part of the problem?
Yes. And they hear, all this kind of like, oh, you're going to make six figures, but results aren't typical. That's the disclaimer that they'll have. But it was like, oh, you'll make six figures. So people join on to these things and they invest money in things just because they think they're going to make six figures. And you really need to dig a little deeper. And you know what they say, you're supposed to think about your why, but go 7 layers deep into your why. So the minute you think about your why, okay, so why did you start a business? Okay, then why is it that you want that? Or, and just go very deep into your why so you understand why you're doing something.
What made you realize you were great at helping build businesses?
When I got results from my clients. So the greatest thing, and I think I mentioned this earlier, you got to do the work. A lot of people kind of come on the scene and they just want to make money. Get results for your clients. The whole point of being in business is that you solve a problem and you help people achieve a transformation. So get those things under your belt first. That's going to be your indicator of success. Is what I'm doing replicable? Can I replicate it with other clients? Is my system able to be replicated? The same system that I use to help someone grow, this client A to grow, can I use that same system to help client B to grow? And that's where it comes into the strategy piece, is really being able to look and see, what is my strategy? And once you start getting results for your clients, that's when you can, say, I'm good at this.
Very, very true. Not the applause of yourself, but the applause of others. Very important. Wow.
The others that pay you.
That pays. Yeah, very important. Make sure you get paid. Yes, indeed. Yes. I love it. What inspired you to create a podcast called The Boss Experience?
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting one. So I think I've been wanting for years to create a podcast, and it just seemed overwhelming. The whole thought of it seemed overwhelming, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it. But really what I did is I kind of sat down and I kind of thought, I want like a consistent system to get in front of people and to talk about what I do. So when you think about a podcast, and you got to think about why you're starting it. Is it, audience growth, for lead generation? What is it for? So I nailed down why I was starting a podcast, which was really, to have a way to really get in front of my clients. So for people to also get to know me. Because you see people, there's a lot of people on social media. On the surface, people will look and it's like, there's nothing special about Michele Davis. But if you tune into my podcast and you get to know me, it allows you to build a deeper connection with me. And so that was, my purpose. And to use that content to, repurpose it and, instead of shooting straight audio, let's do video and let's use that for YouTube and let's use it for, Instagram, Facebook. And so that took care of the content creation problem too, because then everything you start creating from there is in sync. So when you think about why you may want to start a podcast, so I hear a lot of people, there's a lot of people that are popping up that are helping people start podcasts. And it really starts with your why. Why is it you want to start it? Because it's a lot of work. Anything you start is going to be work. There's no free rides and nothing is easy. And you have to be able to get people to that podcast once you get it launched, so people need to remember that, when they're thinking about building, they're thinking about creating and starting something new.
So you started to let people connect with you. And I mean, I've viewed many episodes, some episodes here and there, and I have enjoyed it because there are literally things that I think about, like, how do you, let me see, how do you do this? Oh, and it's just, tune into your podcast, and it's very informative, very professional, very, just a great podcast, very great podcast. So follow her on all social media platforms. The Boss Experience, The Boss, D-A, Boss Experience, available on all social media outlets.
One other thing I want to say too, the thing I think that makes The Boss Experience different than a lot of other business podcasts that you may come across is people like to look at business as, well, we're going to teach you sales funnels, we're going to teach you marketing, and we're going to teach you all these things. And people forget that we're people. We're entrepreneurs, but we're also people. And we're people with pasts. We're people, with history. We're people that have been bruised and a little, may have felt a little broken at times. And there's mindset stuff going on that we may have, that we need to overcome, because unless you tackle those things head on, they're gonna come up in your business. There's been times in my business, planned everything out, all set to start something. And then all of a sudden something like a little voice was in my head, like, you can't do that.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yes.
And it's like, I can't do that. I'm terrified to do it. And so, when you're talking about building a business, you got to talk about all of those mindset struggles that you got to deal with too. And you got to learn how to overcome them, because there's always going to be that little voice in your head. No matter how well you planned out something, how well you think you strategize, that voice that seeps in your head and tells you, that you can't do it, but you gotta overcome it. You gotta learn to be determined, and you gotta learn to, get that voice out of your head, get it out of your head. Yes. So, when you check out the Boss Experience podcast, you're going to find that I don't just talk about funnels. Yes, we talk about business stuff, but I also talk about other things that we experience in our life. After all, we are people, so I've had episodes about trauma, episodes about anxiety. Because if you struggle with those things prior to entrepreneurship, just because you say you're going to start a business doesn't mean your trauma went away, doesn't mean your anxiety went away. You still need to know the business stuff, but you also need to know how are you going to overcome these other things as well.
Listen, she said it here first. I mean, I know you said it here other places, but listen, check it out. The Boss Experience right now on all platforms. You will not be disappointed. It's very informative. What made you name your podcast The Boss Experience?
For that very reason, really to be truly reflective of what it means to be a boss, because people throw around that word like nothing. Everybody's a boss now. And it's more to being a boss than just the name. It's more than just a four-letter word. There's a lot that goes into it. And so the boss experience is all about the entrepreneur experience. And so everything you're going to go through, everything you're going to go through in your startup process, everything you're going to go through trying to, grow your business, the frustrations that you experience, all of that is the boss experience. That's why I was like, that's the name. It needs to reflect the true experience of entrepreneurship. It's not all glamorous and six figures and, people got to get their mindset together and they really got to get focused. It's about the true experience of entrepreneurship and everything that people go through. The mindset struggles, the self-esteem struggles, the confidence struggles, everything. In addition to business advice.
That's right.
Yeah.
All in one, all inclusive boss experience. My goodness. What inspires you to move forward and continue when things get tough?
That is a great question. I think what inspires me is knowing that whatever I'm experiencing, that I've overcome worse. I've overcome worse. When you really think about things that pop up, you're like, is this really the worst that I've ever dealt with? It may feel like the worst at that moment, but it really isn't when you think about everything that you've managed to overcome to get to the point where you're actually starting a business, and you're in the flow of things. Yeah, it's not the worst thing you've encountered. So I think what inspires me is getting in my head and saying, you know what, this isn't the worst thing I've been through. I've been through worse. I've overcome and I can overcome this too. And then also, the fact of being a mom. So being a mom, puts a different fire under you because you have to be there for your kid. And you can't let your kids see you fly. I mean, yes, failure is part of the process, but you can't be failing every day. At some point, you got to pick yourself up, right? They're looking at everything we do. So I think being a mom is a big part of that too.
So what inspired you to move forward is you being a mother, knowing that the next generation is looking right at you. And if you don't make it happen, she won't be inspired to make things happen for her life. And
right.
That is inspirational. That is very inspirational. So to all the fathers and mothers out there, think about the next generation behind you that's watching, because they are watching and they're going to need inspiration. What would you tell someone that is just beginning their business or entrepreneur journey?
To get real focused. You're going to find yourself pressured and tempted to follow every single trend you see online and to follow all of the advice you see online. And a lot of the advice you hear is really around, not really around starting a business. It's around getting money fast, starting a side hustle. So, and there's nothing wrong with side hustles. The key is, what do you want to do? You may want a side hustle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if if you want a business, you're going to have to start with what are you good at? And you're going to have to build your foundation from there. Definitely look into yourself. Think about your skills. What are you good at? Whether you're starting a side hustle, you're starting a business, think about what you're good at. And you can also grab my business launch planner, which you can find at bossbusinessplanner.com. Just want to plug that in there. And so that teaches you how to, it actually, everything that I'm talking about, that planner walks you through everything from A to Z, how to figure out what you're good at. And that's what it boils down to, because so many people they're struggling to implement a business based on something that they have no clue about. Like, why are you out there all over the place trying to learn something new when, you can just you can leverage your own skills and monetize skills you already have.
Yes. Don't reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Build your own.
And just because you see someone else achieving success doing a particular thing, you have to figure out how you are going to be successful. What is it can you do to achieve success? Let's say someone achieves success being a social media manager. That doesn't mean you're going to waltz into that same business and get the same results. You don't know what that person's back end was. You just see the front end. You don't know what's on the back end. You don't know what resources they already had in place. So it really starts with you. So that's the advice I would give. Mm-hmm.
It starts with you. Don't follow the trend, be the trend. Oh, exactly. A little bit, not really. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Yeah, be the trend. Look at you. Yeah, look within.
Exactly. What would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self that I could be anything that I wanted to be if I take action. And we tend to like have these limiting beliefs, that we can't do something. And I wish I would have, explored entrepreneurship early on in my life and really kind of, looked at business early on, but I didn't even have a business mindset. Strangely enough, I was like a robot going through the motions of what I thought I was supposed to do, And it was fun to go to college and get jobs, but what else besides those jobs? You need to have a dream outside of your 9 to 5. Like, what is it that you want to do? If I could advise my younger self, I would be like, what do you want? What do you really want? Forget about the job. Let's put the job aside for a minute. What is it that you want, and what is it that makes you happy? What will make you happy in this point? Like, what do you like? And we don't ask ourselves that. We get so caught up in, what we think we're supposed to do, or trying to take care of other people and knowing what makes them happy, but we don't ask ourselves what makes us happy. If I could talk to my younger self, I would say, get in tune with what makes you happy, get in tune with what you're good at, and don't rely on one single source of income. Because if that income source goes away, you are flopping in the wind with nothing.
Amen to that. Yes. Yes, indeed. I love it. I love it. I love it. We have some great questions. I see a lot of great questions in the chat. And so if you don't mind, we can go right to it. How do you overcome or move past difficult situations?
Sometimes I give a good cry first before I start strategizing about what I'm going to do, because things happen and we have to allow ourselves to feel what's happening. And we may need to give ourselves a good cry. We may need to yell, scream, do some little scream therapy, punch a few things. As long as you don't punch people. When I say punch some things, maybe punch a pillow, maybe punch your mattress, don't hurt yourself, but allow yourself to feel is what I'm getting at. Feel what what's happening in your life. Feel what's going on. Yell, scream, do whatever, and let that out. Let that energy out. And then once you do that, then you can start kind of thinking about what exactly is happening in this situation. What exactly is going on? Because sometimes when we start breaking things down and we think about it, we're only thinking about the problem. We're not thinking about the solutions. We're only thinking about how we can't solve this problem. We're not thinking about what kind of solutions can we come up with.
Yes. Key thing you said there, allow yourself to feel. Instead of running from that feeling, allow yourself. I love it. Great answers. Were there times when you wanted to give up or settle for less?
All the time. And I think that the kind of like a difficult thing that entrepreneurs experience when you talk about challenges that they face is like what to price their stuff. And so I remember I learned the hard way that I wasn't pricing my services high enough. I took on this client and I underestimated. This was like early on in my entrepreneur career. This was when I was still doing like websites and other stuff. And I took on this client job and I totally underbid myself. I underestimated what it would take, the time it would take to actually complete the job. And I remember, working on this project and I was in tears because I actually started breaking down crying. So to go back to that question about how do you, kind of bring yourself out of the rut, I was like, oh my God, I underpriced myself so bad. I was crying looking at my screen because I'm like, this is so much work and I didn't charge enough money. So that's a big mistake that entrepreneurs make. They don't look into, how to really structure their services and their pricing in a way that makes sense. And they end up underpricing themselves and working for pennies. And the reality, because they're afraid to lose the sale. And that was what I was afraid to lose the sale. But at the end of the day, if that sale is not going to push you forward in any way, and it's not going to like help you, be in business and stay in business and invest back in your business, or, what's the point? You don't want every client. Some clients you just need to, send them on their merry way. And this was one of those clients. And so I did not charge enough. I did not charge enough. And I remember, just having a breakdown at the screen. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is I had to finish the job, regardless of if I was, didn't charge enough. That's my fault. That's not the client's fault. Yeah. And it was a learning lesson for me.
Yes.
It was, you got to chalk some things up as a learning lesson. And I knew from then on that, I better really evaluate the job and really kind of look at what it takes to get the job done so that I don't ever, ever, ever end up in that position again.
Amen. Amen. I'm literally telling myself ouch, because sometimes you underprice yourself because they're a friend. You know them for so long. You don't want to be that guy. No, you are that person. You are that guy. You are that girl. Charge yourself the way you're supposed to be charged. So
you're in business, or you can't be in business if you're not charging your worth and your value. And you don't want to undervalue yourself. You have skills and you want to act as such. So, definitely charge your worth.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How do you officially and legally turn a side hustle into a business?
To take your side hustle into a business, you have to look at, can this be marketable as a, full-time business? What is the revenue potential? What is is there an interest for what I'm selling? Do I need to repackage it, to have more appeal? Is this product going to fare well selling to people I don't know? Because I think the thing is with a side hustle, depending on what you sell, a lot of people end up selling to people that they kind of know or people in their circle. And true business, something that could be a full-time business, is something that you have to be able to market and sell in to people you don't know, people that don't know you. So it's a whole strategy and a whole process in terms of how you market, how you repackage, and you have to do your market research. So, what may be profitable as a side hustle may not be profitable, if you try and, scale it to something larger. And people need to really examine their side hustles, because a lot of people are doing like 3, 5, 7 different hustles. And how much money can you be making doing all that? You're spending you're like going in different directions, trying to, run these side hustles. Like, what is the most profitable side hustle you can get going right now, and focus your energy on that. And then when you get to the point of trying to build it out and seeing if it can be a business, really do your market research and see, can this be really profitable? Am I really making money now in this? Because if you're not making money as a side hustle, you're more than likely not going to make money if you try and turn it into a business. So depending on what you're selling, there's several different factors, but a key thing is market research, plan out your business, really see what's happening in that industry that you're trying to break into, and see if you have something that can be sold as is, or does it need to be repackaged in some way, and go from there.
Great answer. Great answer. How do you personally stand out from other strategists?
I stand out because I know who I'm talking to when I'm online. Sometimes people come online and they want to talk to everyone. They think everyone is their target market, and everyone is not your target market. You have to know who you're talking to. And so I'm talking to a very specific group of people when I'm talking. I'm not going to be everyone's business strategist. I'm just not. Everybody is not my target audience, and everyone is not my ideal customer. So I have a very specific group of people that I'm speaking to when I'm online. And I think that's how you stand out. And I try and speak to those pain points that they're experiencing. And I try and position myself as the solution. That's how I stand out. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful answer. So last but not least, I just wanted you to drop a word of inspiration and motivation for those that are watching. Please take us away.
Determination. Stay determined. There's things that will happen in our lives that will totally take us by surprise. They're going to knock us off. They're going to knock us down. There's some things that are going to come and just knock us down. It's just a part of life. And you have to figure out, like, how am I going to, regroup? Do I need to pivot? What do I need to do to get back out there and to be focused once again? But stay determined. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on your dream. Keep your eye on whatever it is that you want to accomplish, and stay determined.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. I can't wait for you to tune in to the next episode. Take care and be well. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time.